are you, Maud?
Yes. Dear God, it takes nothing special to mop up after the decrepit and the dying. Can you feel that?
Yep.
But to save a soul, that's quite something. Bless Amanda's body, and bless her mind, which is shrouded in darkness.
When you pray, do you get a response?
It's like he's physically in me. It's how he guides me. He's just there. He's everywhere.
Maud is looking out for me, you see. To save my soul, if I understand correctly. You must be the loneliest girl I've ever seen. I just want to see you loosen up.
I've got more important things on my mind.
Maud, he isn't real.
This is life and death on another level.
Oh, yes, of course.
Never waste your pain. Never waste your pain.
Hello and welcome back to the MidKnight video podcast. My name is Ben Haywood as always, and in today's episode we are going to be looking at two movies which are character study based kind of movies, which will be Saint Maud, directed by Rose Glass, and Joker by I can't remember his name, by Todd Phillips. First, we are going to be starting off with Saint Maud, which is starring Morfydd Clark as Maud, and you got a supporting cast with Jennifer Ely as Amanda, and a few odd ones here and there like Lily Fraser, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say at the moment. So yeah, Saint Maud, film that came out in 2019, which I think it got delayed a year because of this COVID-19 sort of stuff. And I think it came out late 2020, and I did go and watch this film I think around Halloween time, before Christmas sort of thing. It was one of my last cinema trips, and it's not an easy watch. I've picked two films in Saint Maud and Joker where they're both very not easy watches, studying two characters where they're like loners, they're disregarded by society, and Saint Maud goes in that tone where it focuses on a young woman who had a little bit of an accident at her original job. Like, she was a surgeon or something, and she accidentally, or she did CPR, and she accidentally like crushed the heart while pushing down on the CPR, and she accidentally killed a man or something. So that's where the film starts off, and from there it leads her like being let go of her original job and starting a new job at a hospice which looks after cancer patients and people who are dying. And with our lead character Maud, she becomes a carer for Amanda, who is a former dancer and more like the artsy fartsy sort of snobbish woman sort of character, and they both have they're both completely different characters. They both absolutely have the differences where Maud is started a strong religious faith in the Catholic side of things, and she takes it too far where Amanda is an atheist. She doesn't believe in a higher force or a creator or anything like that, and between that relationship with them, they clash in a way, and like Maud, it focuses into a slow drive into insanity and her delusions and her false relationship with God, but God's nothing like that. Coming from someone that's been brought up as a Christian, that is definitely not how God works. And she does that by self-harming, feeling like she has to punish herself in order to become a saint, get cleansed by her sins and stuff. And she does some horrific stuff, like starting with like little things like pinching her hand, like scabs on her hand, to putting nails in the bottom of her shoe, to burning herself. And it's not an easy watch. This is the darker film compared to Joker for me. This is the more disturbing thing for me, and I'm going to go into spoilers with this film, and it delves into more and more into her madness and her delusions with God, and looking after Amanda, who's a non-believer, kind of comes across as like she's kind of taking advantage of Maud's strong faith, as Amanda's the older woman, the more wise woman. She's got that ability to take advantage out of Maud, who is more quiet, more vulnerable, a bit sensitive, and she there's a bit where she goes out on a night somewhere where you can tell how lonely she is, but she breaks all them strong rules that she has with her Catholic faith, and she goes out one night, like giving random men a hand job and having sex with random men, which is disgusting, really. And you can tell that she really is lonely, and I think part of her delusions and her journey into madness comes from that loneliness. Same with Arthur Fleck, which is in Joker, which I'm going to get into later. And towards the end, I'm going to go in spoilers, by the way, and she gets let go of her second job as she slapped Amanda because they had a bit of an argument, and it goes where she gets even deeper and deeper into madness, does some bit odd stuff, goes sneaks into the hospice at the middle of the night as she believes that she's on a journey from God to save Amanda, and convince her, like save her soul, that she doesn't go to hell. And because Amanda's like the ultimate definition of sin, where she does what she wants, she drinks, she smokes, does drugs, have gay relationships with other women and stuff, and which is the typical type of sin in the Catholic and Christian religion and all that kind of stuff. And it goes, I'm gonna try and find the words here, into that relationship, and where like the relationship between them, like where Maud is trying to save her soul, as she believes that she's on a journey to save her soul, and she sneaks into the hospice at the middle of the night, like She starts like having some weird talk with Amanda, and she has these delusions where Amanda turns into some sort of demon and ends up murdering her in her cold blood. So now she's basically a killer now. She's a murderer, and that's the final nail in the coffin. And she believes that she's completed a journey from God, her quest to become a saint, to cleanse her from her sins. And like the next morning, she goes off to the beach somewhere with a big bottle of gasoline, pours it all over her, sets herself alight. But while that, it goes into a headspace where she believes that she's getting burned by the holy flame, where everyone around her who's trying to stop her from doing that is kneeling down. But you have that quick little second of reality where she's actually burning in agonising pain, and probably such just the worst way to die. And and it cuts at that, but a theory of that, I believe she survives that, because she's probably better off dying if you're going to burn alive, because there's nothing worse than like burning alive. That's going to ruin her life. It's going to affect her mobility. She's going to be disfigured. She's probably going to have real health issues, cut her life short. And I think my theory that she does survive, and her life's ruined by her delusions and stuff. So yeah, I think that's my end of the review for Saint Maud. It is a really good film. I really did enjoy it. It's one of the best films of the year for me, the best horrors, and for that reason I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. And Rose Glass, I should mention, is a young up-and-coming director. I think this is a first feature film, a feature debut, and I'm quite surprised of how young she is. She's not really that much older than me, which is a little depressing. Just going to check how old she is. Just give us a minute. I think she's in her 30s, but even though I'm 23, time flies that fast anyway, so she is young, but yeah, really am excited to see what Rose Glass does in the future, and she's definitely caught my interest in what she does next. So yeah, that's my review for Saint Maud, and next off I'm going to review Joker, but before that I'm going to put a trailer, but in case it gets copyrighted, there might not be a trailer, so yeah, I'm going to review Joker next.
Can you please stop bothering my kid?
Sorry.
Arthur, I have some bad news for you. This is the last time we'll be meeting.
You don't listen, do you? You just ask the same questions every week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts.
And finally, in a world where everyone thinks they can do my job, check out this guy.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed at me. Well, no one's laughing now.
You can say that again, pal.
It's so awful, isn't it?
For my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do. And people starting to notice.
You think this is funny? Is this a joke to you?
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker? Send in the clowns.
So right, Joker, which has been directed by Todd Phillips, starring Joaquin Phoenix in the main role as Arthur Fleck / Joker. Supporting characters including Robert De Niro, Zazie Beetz, and they're the three people really. So yeah, Joker, one of them films that I've had mixed views with. Like, it has had a lot of positive praise and stuff, but I do see both sides of it. For me, as a massive Joker fan, the traditionalist in me is a little disappointed, but I do get what Todd Phillips is trying to do at the same time. But again, like, the traditional side of me, the traditionalist, it's like your favourite football team all of a sudden plays in blue then plays in red for next season. That's how it kind of feels for me. Probably not as dramatic as that, but yeah, I'm going to put it that way. But yeah, Joker, as a film, fairly decent. I'm not going to go around and say it's like the greatest film of all time, which a lot of people kind of make it out to be, but I'm probably getting ahead of myself there. But yeah, I do get what Todd Phillips was doing here. Like, he was getting a lot of inspiration from like your traditional Scorsese films like Taxi Driver, the king of comedy, and it's going for that tone, the character study of just the average man who's been disregarded by society, which is Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker, who's living in an apartment with his mum in the shithole that is Gotham. And as I'm gonna get into my point, that I do get what Todd Phillips was doing with this film. Like, I do see that, yeah, it's a very, 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 very different take on Joker. It's an Elseworld story. It's not your traditional Joker. Like, it's not really Joker that everyone else knows, because Joker's true identity is not known, even though we know he's Arthur Fleck in this, even though Arthur Fleck's the unreliable narrator, where, I don't know, they have to go all deep and stuff with Joker these days after Heath Ledger and all that. But yeah, I do get where he was going. Like, it is an interesting take to do an Elseworlds type of story based in Gotham, in the DC universe, the DC Black Label, which Todd Phillips did pitch originally, which I do like that idea, by the way. I think they should fully go ahead with the DC Black Label. That sounds right up my alley, and I do like the DC Black Labels in comic form as well. And going for the story of just the average man, the nobody, rather than the rich billionaire Bruce Wayne / Batman and all the other greats, is an interesting way to go for just the average Joe that ends up becoming Joker in this Elseworlds universe. And I do believe the only reason it's called Joker is to sell tickets, to get seats in cinemas. If it was just called Arthur, it wouldn't have done nowhere near as well, and I think that's the only reason it's called Joker. So I don't know, I don't know if it's a script that Todd Phillips just originally wrote about some average guy who becomes a comedian. It's a rip-off of Taxi Driver, The King of Comedy and all that. Then you thought, oh, this sounds like it could be a decent character study for a comic book character, sell tickets like Joker, which is a smart move, by the way. And like I said, I do have mixed views on it. I do get what Todd Phillips is going, like I've mentioned many times now, but it's trying to think of the word, like anyone that's not seen it before, like, don't expect your traditional comic book film or a traditional Joker film, because it's not really a Joker film. That's how I'm going to put it, and that's where I'm mixed with it, because it isn't a Joker film, it's an Arthur Fleck film. It's just about a guy called Arthur Fleck in this super realistic Elseworld thing that ends up becoming Joker. That's the best way to put it. And what I do like about this film, as it is a take on a classic comic book character, a classic fictional character, I can kind of see this like touching, like, if you think about it as like a biopic based on a true story, like a true life serial killer, like these Netflix murder mystery documentaries, like you got the Night Stalker killings, you got the Manson family killings. I can see this kind of like it's a fictional story, but it feels like a biopic of a real life murder killings mystery sort of thing, where it's the Joker killings. It's about a man who ends up killing people, who delves into madness. It slowly starts out where, like, Arthur Fleck gets beaten up by thugs and he's had enough. He gets fed up with it all, kills 3 Wall Street men on the train, and that's the beginning of his murder spree in a way. Then next he kills his mum. You question if he kills Zazie Beetz' character and his daughter, and kills can't remember what it's called, the guy that gave him the gun. Then all of a sudden goes on the Murray Franklin show and shoots him live on TV, which is the dark part. And I do see something similar like that. Like, there was a film that's similar, like, to that film, where a woman, which is based on a true story, a news presenter shoots herself live on television, and that's in this similar vein, where a prolific talk show host, like the Murray Franklin show, Murray Franklin, who's like this iconic talk show host, well loved and all that, well respected, all of a sudden gets murdered in cold blood live on television by some weird creepy man dressed as a clown. Like, I can picture something like that as like a Netflix documentary sort of things called The Joker Killings, and I feel like it could be like an inspiration as the urban myth of the Joker, as this boogeyman sort of character, but he was just a mentally ill man that ends up coming on a talk show host and murdering him on cold blood, starting some sort of movement, a riot, and he's got some like following behind him, and that's the end of the arc, which is a very interesting way to do a Joker film. I think the only reason it works for me is that it is an Elseworld story. People who are not familiar with Elseworld stories, that the story's told in like in a different universe, in a non-traditional comic book way, or a non-traditional way for that certain character, so you get different takes on the character. Like, there's one where, like, Superman Red Sun, where Superman lands in Russia. I think I'm not that familiar with the comic. I'm not that familiar with comics in general, but it's if Clark Kent or Kal-El landed in Russia, and it goes on that take what if that happened. And I think this is like an Elseworlds story of the super realistic, basically our real world. It's still based in Gotham, but it's our real world. It's based on the Joker murders, the Joker killings, which I do see as like something like a biopic for a real life event like that, like the Manson family killings. Just really creepy Netflix documentary type of film sort of thing. And if anyone knows what I mean, that's the only reason why I believe this film works. And I probably would have gone a different route with it, for better or worse. Like in the traditional me, like I do get what Todd Phillips was doing with the character. Like he wanted to do why not take one of these iconic characters and do a character study, do like something that's not really been done before. And I do get his vision for it, and for that reason I do like it. And for that reason I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Like, it just about works, only just about for me. And I think what pisses me off, some people are taking the character of the Joker and making him this deep hippie sort of symbol for depressed teenagers, like, ooh, we live in a society, and just it's a bit soppy and whiny, and it's like, ooh, feel sad for me, Arthur's, ooh, feel sorry for me, feel sad for me. And it that pisses me off a little bit, but I do get what Todd Phillips is going. If you see it with the biopic Joker murder killings kind of lens, I do think it does work for that reason, if anyone knows what I mean. And with the trend of going realistic with comic book films ever since The Dark Knight, I guess Todd Phillips wanted to take that realistic world that Nolan did, which I don't really think is that realistic anyway, because it's a man dressed up as a bat fighting crime, which is not realistic really, with super high tech gadgets and stuff. And Todd Phillips took that concept and went for the realistic as like our world, still set in Gotham, set in some kind of clown movement where there's this man dressed as a killer clown murdering people in cold blood, and it's turns out it's some depressed guy with mental illness called Arthur Fleck, and he goes as far to kill a prolific talk show host on live television. And I'm going to put it as that, and I think that's the best I can explain it. So I think that's it for me. If you haven't already, why not subscribe to my channel if you like the sort of content that I do, which is more art-based content, film, TV, animation, all that kind of stuff, and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified for any of my future content. So that's it from me, and goodbye.